welcome to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Chris Meaney. Thanks as always for taking the time to hang out here on the Mayo Media Network. As Pat likes to say, don't just hit that like button, smash that like button. Tell a friend about the show. We only have a couple more weeks until the puck drops on the Stanley Cup playoffs, but we'll be giving picks all the way until that Stanley Cup is raised right here on the Mayo Media Network. So please rate, review, subscribe. If you have a comment, a question, a season-long question, don't be afraid to hit us up here in the YouTube section. I'll circle back before puck drop. I got my guy Cam Stewart hanging by. We have 5 games in the NHL tonight, so we're going to break it all down for you in a little bit, but it is time for the Prize Picks play of the day. Follow the link in the description for a promo code that will give you 100% first deposit match of up to $100. And the Prize Picks have been okay here on this show. Hopefully, not to toot the own horn here, but we've seen some winners, which is really nice. We had Mark Stone twice this week. We had Kaprizov on Wednesday. Last week, we had a couple unders with Brodin. So let's hope we can continue this trend here. Prize Picks, you can mix and match across all the sports that you love, baseball, golf. It's all happening right now over in the sports world and on prizepicks.com. So let's go back to Kirill Kaprizov. He's at 3.4 fantasy points against the Kings this evening. And then Brad Marchand at 4.1 against the Buffalo Sabres. Let's start with Marchand. Both of these guys are actually on a heater. Marchand's got goals in 3 straight games, 4 over that span, 6 goals, 9 points, and 13 shots over his last 5 games. This is Boston's 3rd straight game against Buffalo. Marchand has a goal in each of the first 2 this week. 3 points and 5 shots. And if you look a little bit deeper into Brad Marchand over the last 30 days, he has 23 points, which is second in the NHL behind Artemi Panarin, just 2 points back of him, and 13 goals, which is tied with, of course, Auston Matthews for the goal lead. He's just been rolling. I don't know if there's anybody better. I'm going to bring it up with Cam, but I don't know if there's anybody better at, shorthanded than Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. These guys just absolutely put on a clinic. Pastrnak is back up on that top line. He's starting to hit the score sheet. He's only 4.6 fantasy points, his prop over at Prize Picks. I like both of those guys. And then Kaprizov, he's got 9 goals over the last month, which is tied for 6, just a couple back of Marchand and Matthews, and just 1 back of Jason Robertson. I don't know if he hears Jason Robertson catching up to him in the Calder race, but Kirill has goals in 3 straight games, 11 shots over that span. He's played LA 7 times. He's got 4 goals and 7 points. So I like it. He's got goals in his last 2 games against the Kings. So Kaprizov over 3.4 and then Marchand over 4.1. Check out prizepicks.com later. They have some shot props and some goalie save props that appear a little bit later on. All right, let's bring in Cam Stewart. 5 games. Happy Friday, man. How's it going to you?
How you doing, Meaney? I can't lie to you. I'm beat down. It's been a long week, but I'll tell you one thing, buddy. I actually bet the Ottawa Senators against the Vancouver Canucks. It was a good spot for them. After the Leafs, they lose to Vancouver. Ding, ding, ding. You come back to Ottawa, Stützle and that team. I'm going to tell you, the Senators are going to be real good in a couple years, buddy. Real good.
No, I 100% agree. I had it as well. The Sens and the under was plus 330. We're up to 99 units over at ftmbets.com. So like I said, we're going to be giving picks over there until that Stanley Cup is raised. So check out ftmbets.com/pricing. You can use the promo code Meaney, Mayo, whatever. Floats your boat, and it's all the same to me, and it'll give you a bit of a discount until that cup is raised. So yeah, yesterday was good, man. Good on you in the sense. You know what? How many times have we talked about Ottawa on this show? Like,
lots.
Good spots, plus money, good team, competitive. They take care of everybody inside the division. Like, that was their first win, I believe, against Vancouver.
True.
But a lot has changed, Cam, with the Sens since the start of the season.
Great point, Meaney. That's the thing. Like, people look at the Senators, and I got to be honest with you, the books don't understand. No. This team is night and day from what they were at the start of the year. Losing to Edmonton 8-3, Vancouver like 7-2. They got slaughtered. But now all their young players are picking it up. Connor Brown's been fantastic. Murray's coming back with an attitude. I'm going to tell you, man, the Ottawa Senators, they beat your team 4-0, man. They took Montreal out to the woodshed. I'm going to tell you, I can't believe the prices you get on this team soon. I'm going to, Meaney, in a couple of years, I think the Ottawa Senators are going to cause major problems for everybody. Think about all the draft picks they have, all the young players they have. If they can get a goaltender, maybe a little bit more, another score. I'm telling you, this team is they're going to be wicked.
Yeah, no, they really are. And then this year they have, 2 picks in the second. So they're going to have, 3 top picks again. In 2022, they have 2 picks in the second, 2 in the third. They got 3 in the seventh. So, I mean, this is a team that's got 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 picks in 2022, which is a good draft.
Nice.
And some of these kids are going to get better, like you mentioned. Yeah, Brown, what does he have? 11 goals in his last 14 games or something silly. Drake Batherson scored again last night. Josh Norris has been basically a point per game guy over the last month or so. Yeah, the Sens are fun. They're entertaining. And they're starting to get some saves from Matt Murray. They had the shutout against the Habs, which you talked about. That was their first shutout since 2019, and now they got 2 in a week. They just needed a couple saves, and they're getting it from Matt Murray. Sens aren't in action tonight, but they are definitely going to be on our radar moving forward as nice, just road dogs. Sometimes they're home dogs as well. Let's talk about tonight. We got Boston and Buffalo going at it again. The Bruins are 5-0 in this series. 4 of the 5 have gone under the number, Cam. So third straight game between these two teams. Boston has won 7-1. Rask had the shutout the other night. He is getting the start this evening. He's 11-4-2, 2 goals against average and a .916 save percentage. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is making his NHL debut for the Sabres. Nice young prospect goalie. Buffalo plus 255 at home. 12-27 and 7 on the season. Boston heavy road favorites. Wow, minus 305. Buffalo's been hanging around lately since they made a couple of those trades. They've been competitive. They've been stingy. They've been playing to quite a few unders. Will you go there this evening?
Here's the thing. Boston beat these guys. What was it, Meaney? 4-1? Was it 4-1 the last time that they played?
Yeah.
We got a new goaltender. I like a lot of the young players that Buffalo has, but the problem is Boston's just one of those teams. They're just on a heater. They take care of business when they need to. Taylor Hall's been there. He fits in perfectly. I kind of want to look at Buffalo with the new goaltender at home, getting that type of price after Boston beat them. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not betting Boston. I'm not putting them in parlays. I really want to take Buffalo. But my thing was, I was really wanting to attack the Rangers in the next series against Buffalo because I think they're starting to, we'll talk about them in the next game, but when you look at the standings, how depressing is it? You're like, oh, we won again. We beat New Jersey. Boston wins. Pittsburgh wins. And eventually, Islanders beat them down. Flyers beat them. So that's the way I wanted to attack Buffalo against the Rangers. But I'll tell you one thing, Meaney. You're getting +1.5 with a little bit of plus money. What do you think about this game and the total? We got a new goaltender here. I kind of think we get goals in this game.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. Just because it's such a quick turnaround with the success that they had last night against Buffalo, I feel like that may just carry over a little bit. I'm concerned with the total just because of Rask. Like Rask has been,
he is on fire.
Yeah, he's been so good. And I just look at the Sabres and they obviously need to do their part, right? They don't really score a lot of goals here. So I'm a little torn on the total. I probably just stay away from this game in general, to be honest with you. I mean, just to lay that kind of juice on Boston. And you're right about everything. We'll get into the Rangers in a second. That was such a heartbreaking loss that they had to the Islanders. Like they needed to have that game because everybody else just keeps winning. And the Capitals and the Islanders are playing each other over this next few days a bunch, so someone's going to get points there. The Penguins are rolling. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. Boston's won 6 straight games. I don't know, man. I think this kid too, like Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I think he's a pretty decent prospect. I'm excited to see what he has to offer, but now he's got to go up against this red hot Bruins team. I don't know, man. You mentioned Taylor Hall over 2.5 shots. Let's put him on the board right now.
I agree.
So we don't forget about it. Minus 120 over at William Hill. Not seeing him on DK at all right now. Taylor Hall, man, hasn't he looked good, Cam? Just going to a team that's competitive with a bunch of winners has really changed his style.
It's a perfect fit, Meaney, right? He doesn't have to be the big stud. They got Pasternak, they got Marchand, they got Bergeron, they got all sorts of other guys on the team. So Hall just got to do his job, and you can tell he's refreshed. And let's remember one thing. This guy's playing not just for this year. He's playing for a future. He wants to get like one more nice contract. He's not going to get the money that what do you get? $8 million from the Sabres. That's a pipe dream. That's not happening. But I'll tell you one thing. I think Boston's probably going to re-sign him. He's a good fit there. And yeah, he's motivated. That's the thing about the Boston Bruins, Meaney. They're one of these teams. I'm just like, when are you going to go away? when are you going to leave? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like at the party, he's the guy that sleeps on your couch, eats your breakfast in the morning. I'm like, just get the hell out of my house. But they just linger and linger and linger. You can't ever count Boston out. They're pros. You talked about Marchand. You talk about like their penalty kill. They're dangerous. Like they're shorthanded and they score goals. Like this team's not going away. And then the crazy thing is, Rask is on fire, and they got 4 goalies. They got Darth Vader. They got Swayman. They got Halak. He's on the COVID protocol, and Rask came back, and he's been on fire. You know, they can probably they're going to deal somebody, and Seattle's probably going to get one of those goalies when they come in the league. But I'll tell you, man, you can't bet against Boston. They're too damn good.
Yeah, and you're right. They are too damn good, and they just have so much experience that they just don't take these teams that other teams take lightly. They don't do that, I don't find.
They're pros.
They're pros. So they lost 8-1 to Washington on April 11th, and it was their second straight loss. Since then, they've won 6 straight games, and they've outscored their opponents 23-7. They played Washington again after that 8-3 loss and beat them 6-3. A 3-0 shutout to the Islanders, a 4-1 victory against the Islanders, and then 3 victories here against the Sabres, where they've outscored them 10-3. I mean, it's. I know I'm trying to like find some reasons to get involved, maybe with Buffalo on the potential puck line, but it's just there's no value here in betting Boston on the money line. Maybe you can chuck them in a couple parlays, or maybe you can just have some fun with some of these props. Taylor Hall -120. He's been over 2.5 shots, Cam, in 4 of his 7 games as a member of the Boston Bruins, and all 3 against the Sabres. He has 10 in his last 2 against Buffalo this week. And then in his first game as a member of the Bruins, he had 3. So he's -120. Heck, Bergeron here at -149, 2.5 shots. I think they probably win by a couple goals. I don't know if I'm going their puck line. Let's bring in Matty Best. He's a puck line lover. He loves it. Are you getting involved here with the Bruins on the puck line, or is this maybe just a stay away with the new kid in net?
This is just a stay away from me. This will be a prop game for me. I'll be going to Taylor Hall, like you said. There's nothing really outside of Hall that I like shot prop wise either. I'm not dumb enough to take any Sabres. I'm also not dumb enough to bet on the Sabres. But
I am. And it worked out for you. I'm not doing it tonight.
No,
you had him last week, right, against Pitt?
Oh yeah. What was that? The Sunday game when they won 4-2. Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me, Buffalo, since that Philadelphia series, they've been putting money like in my account, left, right, and center. The problem is Boston's just one of those teams. Even though they're going to make the playoffs, the Rangers are fading. They just don't take nights off, so it's hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to take Buffalo, but I just can't.
The price isn't there for me to take Buffalo. I need it to be
plus 275.
I need more against the Bruins.
What do you want? What do you want?
I want
plus 400.
I want 3. I want 3 against Boston. I think Boston's too good right now.
Hey, Meaney, he's the guy. He's like, can I buy 3 rocks in curling? It's like, yeah, we got a spread. 3. I want 6.5. That's what me and Morency talk about, a curling teaser. Can I buy 3 rocks? That's Matt Best. This guy's the Nashville Predators big fan. Actually, he knows a lot about the Predators. It's stupid. They should hire you. But Buffalo in this spot, even at home, they should probably be about plus 325. If
they were at plus 325, I would take it. That's when I would throw some stones on there. But for right now, I can't. And I don't think I've bet on the Sabres since the very beginning of the season. Like the first 5 or 6 games, just haven't touched them, haven't even picked them on a puck line, just haven't had the stones to do it.
Wish I could say the same thing. I've been taking them here and there.
I'm with you, Meaney. I've taken them like a stooge, and I've taken them like a smart guy. Like I remember right before they got on that little heater, I took them against Pittsburgh. I'm like, oh man, well look at them live, like plus 3.5, and they'll lose by like 4. I'll just get like absolutely heartbroken. I'm just sitting there going, but you know what the thing about Buffalo is? They're not that bad. They have a couple players on the team. You talked about Middlestat and some of the other guys like Dahlin and whatever. Hey, Kyle Okposo, this guy should worst contract in the history of the National Hockey League. Skinner's deal. Like the thing about Buffalo is they almost have to just say, we screwed up. We're going to lose a lot of money on these deals and nobody's going to take them. But I will say a couple guys in their young core, they're not that bad, and they're doing this without Eichel too.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. They're doing it without Eichel. Yeah, Middlestat, who we talked about last Friday, continued to have a pretty solid, next few days after that. I think he's been
For sure.
I think he's been great, and he's getting some ice time. He's finally getting an opportunity. This guy was a highly touted prospect too. I mean, he was just super young a couple of years ago. Expectations were high, and he needed to put a bit of muscle on.
It just shows you that Granato and the coaching staff that they have are a lot smarter. Like Kruger,
yes.
No offense to Kruger, but like he didn't play the young guys properly. He did not, like, see you later, Kruger. Your company sucks. Just like on Seinfeld, right? It's like, my son says your company stinks. He's gone. And I got to say, Sabres better hire Granato. He's done a good job with this club.
Yeah, he has. They were playing Eric Stahl, like second line centers, top power play. You know what I mean? And then get him out of town. He looks brutal and so slow in Montreal.
Yeah.
But then you get Middlestat going too. So the Sabres they're not a pushover. They've been hanging around and playing at least, they beat Pittsburgh 4-2. They lost to Pittsburgh 3-2. They beat Washington 5-2. It was a 3-2 Boston loss, and then a 5-3 victory. Philly, a loss 4-3 to Washington before that. So they've been hanging around. They just had some bad luck here against the Bruins. So I don't know how much offense they're going to be able to muster. I was actually thinking about Olofsson and Sam Reinhart on DK here just to get 0 points. They have 0 points in the 2 games against Boston. Best. I was looking at that.
People bet overs, you bet the under. It's like Morency. It's like Morency when we do our props in the NBA. Is like Luke Kennard under. Everybody else is over, right?
I like picking on certain players. I mean, you can get Reinhardt here, minus 139, 0 points. I know it's a little risky, but I don't mind that one. You want to get nuts. So again, using our free FTN parlay calculator, you can get Buffalo plus 285 and Boston minus 303. That's the best odds possible. Matt, what you were talking about, how you wanted more money, reminded me of the Canucks the other night. Cam, I don't know if you are aware. I mean, you've been betting for a long, long time. But the Canucks, their first game back after the COVID list, what were they? Plus 400.
Yeah, what were the Leafs? Minus 420 at
that's what
drop?
It was. The biggest home dogs in the NHL in the last 15 years, and they managed to pull that out. And then they were plus 250 the next time they played each other, and they pulled that out again as well.
Sorry, big save, Dave. It was like red light Dave, right? And I'll give Rittich credit. He's like, hey, I played like junk. But the thing about it is, take a look at these teams that are coming off the COVID list, right? Even though they had a variant of it and it was crazy and they're drinking Pedialyte and puking and like that, their COVID situation was way worse than anybody else. But the thing is, you still get time to practice. You still get time to work on things. And that's what they did in the last couple games when JT Miller's like, hey man, like we need a little bit of time. Look at Colorado. They came back. St. Louis, it was close, but Colorado had the COVID situation. They win. Every team that's had it has come back and won.
Yeah, no, good call. Absolutely. That rest, right? I mean,
and you get to
say what you want about it, but you get a little bit of time off. You're not feeling 100%, but some of those days off will do wonders for certain players on those respective teams. So, all right, we'll move on. But I like Hall here at 2.5 shots minus 120. I don't mind Bergeron here at 2.5 minus 149, but Hall's the play. It's a great price. He's been shooting quite a bit. I probably will put Marchand at 2-point night since I'm all in on him with Prize Picks. He's plus 160 for a 2-point night there. Let's move on to the Rangers and the Flyers. You were talking about this game. So Philly holds the edge here in this series 4-3. They won last night 3-2. The Rangers were snoozing to about halfway through that game and it got away from them. They almost made the comeback. Over the last 5 games, the Rangers actually have outscored Philadelphia 24-12, but Philly has won 3 of those games. Minus 167, the Rangers at home, 31-15. You're right, still fighting for their playoff lives here.
They're done.
A little bit, but it does look like they're done, right, Cam? They have 8 points back to the Bruins, and they played 2 more games in them. Would you consider here Philly winning last night? Yeah, winning last night. And the sale kind of, done here with New York. There's a heartbreaking loss for them last night, and they've lost 2 straight now.
I think the line kind of tells you something. The Rangers should be probably like what? $1.75, $1.80, like in comparison to a team like the Flyers. But I'm going to tell you this, and it's not the Rangers' fault. First of all, look what happened with their season this year. They get in that division with like Boston, like everything worked against them. And I'm actually going to defend the New York Rangers. The KGB called, right? Hey, I'm Putin. What's up with Panarin? Did he do something in the KHL? That's 9 games they had without Panarin. Think about that. They get points in those games and they're still alive. The league screwed the Rangers this year, but the problem is every time they look up, Pittsburgh wins and Boston wins. They're done. After a while, you just kind of say, oh, okay, like we tried so hard, but they're at the end of the rope, Meaney. And you saw that game against the Islanders. That's the first nail, and the other game was against Philadelphia. For me, I'm probably going to bet Philadelphia in this game, and trust me, I don't like to run to the window with the Flyers, but I'll take the plus 140 with the Flyers and hope for the best.
No, I'm with you, actually. Igor Shesterkin probably won't start. He's been one of the better goalies in the league. I was looking at his numbers just the other day before last night's game. His high danger save percentage was number 2 in the NHL, where most of the goals happened right in the slot. And his 5-5 save percentage was top 5 in the league. It was like 945 or something silly like that. So he has just been so good over this run. And now I would expect him to get a night off. And in Philadelphia, I got Alex Lyon in net. So I actually like the total here. I think we might see some goals. I think we might see some looser hockey.
I agree.
The Rangers and the Flyers are they've been a little bit better lately, right? I mean, it's you're right. It's hard to put money on this team, but for Philadelphia, but they come in, they've won. And they've actually only won 3 of their last 7 games, which seems good, or it doesn't look good, but it seems good for them considering what they've done. But they just haven't, they haven't let in a lot of goals. I mean, 3-2, 1-0, 6-3 was a spanking, but 2-1. So they've played to the under actually in 4 of their last 5. But I think we'll see some goals here tonight, Cam. Is 6 too high?
Yeah, no, I don't mind 6 at all. Some places have 6 in the hook, right? 6.5. I think Philadelphia wins this game like 4-3, 5-4, that type of game. I see goals as well. And the thing is, what's the difference? Is Lyon really a downgrade from Brian Elliott and the way that Carter Hart has played? At least I know that guy's going to grind. So the way I look at it is it's Philadelphia for me, and I do agree with you, over.
Yeah, I'm siding with you over here. Mika Zibanejad, 2.5 shots at minus 140. William Hill Sportsbook. That's not bad. Zibanejad, just let me go double check. I mean, he hit last night. He's got at least 3 shots in 3 straight games and 4 of his past 5. So, I mean, that's another thing too. The Panarin thing was bullshit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like what's the Russian government getting involved? Hey, Panarin played in the KHL and there was an incident at a bar and everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? He missed 9 games, Meaney. That's crap.
And he leads the league in the NHL in points over the last 30 days. Like, that just goes to show what kind of player he is. I mean, he was top, you think he was 3rd last year in the NHL in scoring? Like, arguably one of the better players in the league. And he just is gone from the team. Shesterkin suffered an injury. He was gone for a 3 to 4 week span. And then Zibanejad had this freaking slow start. I don't know if anyone started as slow as him for a guy who had 41 goals last year. And we're sitting here and all of a sudden, you look up and he's got 16 goals. Like, yeah, he's been a point per game guy now over the past 3 weeks is what we expected from him. So yeah. And the division on top of it. I don't know if I brought this up with you last week, but Jake Seeley, friend of the show, loose hockey fan, does some betting. He's a Rangers guy. And he texted me last week, wait, so if the Rangers come 5th and they have more points than the Canadians, they don't make the playoffs? Like, no, it's just they got in the division. That's it.
I agree.
They
got screwed in that division because the teams that were added when they split it up were what? Who was it? Boston, and who else was it? I'm trying to think like what teams came in there, but the thing is,
inside that division.
Yeah, like you remember the way they do the divisions, right? Like the Rangers got hosed every single situation. The KGB called about Panarin. These guys are shaking them down. The division stuff sucked because they had to deal with Boston. I think the Rangers got absolutely hosed this year.
I think so too. Okay, we'll move on to Matt's Nashville Predators minus 120 into Chi-Town at United Center. Look at that graphic. That's on the bucket list for me. I don't know if I'll ever get to Chicago for a hockey game, but I'd love to. Plus 103, the Blackhawks at home. 25-22 against the spread. This division is tight. Finally, Nashville lost to Chicago, and wow, did they ever lose? They had
did.
A 3-goal lead, I believe, in the 3rd period, and Chicago came all the way back and won that game. And all of a sudden, things are pretty tight here in the Central. We have Nashville in 4th, 52 points, 48 games played. Dallas 2 points back, 2 games in hand, and then Chicago 3 points back, one game in hand. Don't have to tell you that this is a big game here tonight. Let's tee up our Nashville guy. What do you think about the Preds here this evening, Matty Best?
This is the most pivotal game of the Predator season by far.
And Chicago's.
And, well, I don't know. I'd say it's more Nashville's because of that blown 4-1 lead. You look at what happened early in the season to the Predators. Any little flick of adversity that they faced, they were so fragile, broke down, and just weren't good at all. They haven't faced any major adversity like this since they've been hot and beat up on good teams. This is a true test of can they bounce back and not, for lack of a better term, look like total dog shit. They did the right thing in pulling Rocco Grimaldi out of the lineup when Matt Duchene came back in. That was completely smart. Or when Tolvanen came back in. They just need to play Tolvanen more. He is the literal key to unlocking the power play that hasn't scored in 8 straight games. If they can get the power play moving at any rate whatsoever, I think Nashville has this game. On the other side of the puck, though, you can never count out Patrick Kane, which feels like the biggest cop-out answer in the world. But you got to know that a vet like that, after coming back from 4-1 with playoffs on the line, is going to be firing up everyone in that room, which is why I don't think you can count Chicago out. For me, I like Chicago on the money line here just because of the price here. It's close to a pick'em, and I would have just taken the plus money team regardless of what was happening. UC Saros looks like he's slightly coming back down to earth, not coming up with every phenomenal save possible known to mankind. Looked kind of weak for a lot of the goals. I mean, the first goal that Patrick Kane set up was phenomenal. There's almost no stopping that one there. But for the rest, the UC Saros that we saw for the last 2 weeks would have saved him. I'm not saying that he's expected to make all these big, gigantic saves, but looks like he's regressing back to form. I don't think Pecorine starts. I don't think it's even a question that Pecorine starts. And there's a lot of people like in the Nashville fan base saying, well, John Hines hates Pecorine. It's like, no, UC Saros is having one of the best historic 8-week stretches in the NHL. So you're going to play the hot hand there.
Exactly. What are you talking about? I know Pecorine's done a lot for the franchise, but if you want to make the playoffs, look at what Saros did in those games, man. That guy stood on his head for a long time. He can't do it forever. The question is, Matt, great analysis, by the way. For me, I got to come back to Chicago after that win. What do you guys think?
I agree.
We're all in on Chicago?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Matt said it perfectly too, with just the fact that they're at home here and they're plus money, and it's basically a coin flip game to me. I know Chicago has lost 6 of the 7 in this series. Nashville rattled off the first 5, and the first 5 were all unders, but the last 2 games we've seen 16 goals. I think Matt is onto something as well. I think Saros maybe coming down to earth a little bit. I would assume the Blackhawks go back to Malcolm Subban because he got this victory, and I'm not completely sold on him either. So I kind of feel like we may see some goals. I like the Hawks, but I think the over 5.5 is.
I agree.
I think it's in play here.
I agree. I was on the over the last game, and it got way over. Everyone thinks Chicago, Nashville, it's going to be under. But yeah, take a look at the tenders. Take a look at the way these guys play. 6 goals, we could definitely get there. I see Chicago winning 5-3 type of game, right? Like I'm with you. I like the over, and I like the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything here from a shot prop standpoint either. Matt, I know you mentioned Kane. DeBrincat didn't hit for us the other night, and I can't really get behind any Preds like Forsberg when he plays. I'm usually into him. Victor Arvidsson is just too hit or miss for me. But I will say something. There is something I'm glad I brought it up here. What do you think about that second line, Matt, with Nashville? I mean, with Kunin, this 2 games in a row now. Granlund, I wrote them up at FTN Daily for a couple picks. In this series, this is the 3rd straight game, right, between these 2 teams? Yes. And both games, that Granlund line led all lines at 5-5 and shot attempts, high danger chances, scoring chances. They've looked really good together, Matt.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. John Hines plays his lines really weird in terms of, like, you look at the top 9 players, and Eric Halla is reeling off 19 minutes. Like, it just makes no sense to me. Kelly Yarncroke's getting 20 minutes, and Yarncroke's part of that just weird second line. Yarncroke's good, though, because he's defensively sound. That's what you kind of want when you have a guy like Mikael Granlund who's going to park his ass in front of the net all the time, and Kunin who's going to take more liberties than not. The only problem with the Preds in DFS is you don't know how many minutes John Hines is going to play his top 9. Like I said, Eric Hall had 19 minutes. Like, on what team other than that Vegas team where he scored close to 30 goals or even got 30 goals does Eric Hall warrant 19 minutes of ice? The answer is no team, to be quite honest. And Luke Cunnin is only getting 12 minutes and 44 seconds, where their fourth line center, Colton Sissons, is getting 14:31. John Hines plays his lines very, very weird, and this wasn't just a one-time thing. It's throughout the whole season. Meanwhile, their number one guy on this team right now, Ellie Tolvanen, is getting 15 minutes a night solid, where he should be getting 18, 19, 20. We recorded a podcast last night, Locked On Predators, go check it out, and we talked about 2 things we want to see in the offseason from the Nashville Predators. And I basically said, I don't give a shit what they do in the offseason as long as Tolvanen is promised top-line minutes and actually gets them. That's all I want, because that kid is the real deal. I don't think he'll be like a generational player or anything like that, but I think the kid could snap off 30 goals consistently in his career.
God, you're good, Matt.
Hey,
I can't like I can't believe the Nashville Predators don't give you a call. I used to go in their locker room meeting. Remember when I did my journey to the Cup from the Score? Yeah. I'm walking in with a cowboy hat and a belt buckle. Hey, how we doing? Talking to Steve Sullivan. I knew Joel Ward back in the day because, he was a guy that played at lower level hockey and then really got his thing done, and a couple other guys, and there was literally Terry Crisp and one other media member there, and we're sitting there. I went, ding, ding, ding. I interviewed Jordan Tutu, Steve Sullivan, every single damn guy in that team. And I go, when I go to a Leafs practice, I could barely get the microphone out of my bag before these guys are out the back door lying to me. See ya. Yeah, we're done. Matt should be working for the Preds. Pretty simple.
Thanks, Cam. I appreciate that, buddy.
No, it's true.
Maybe he will someday. Yeah. I mean, if you're a Preds fan, even if you're not, go check out that podcast that you're talking about, Matt. Yeah, you're spot on. You're in tune here with the Preds. Listen, I was just adding up some numbers on the fly. So Kunin, Yarncroc, and Granlund in the 2 games in this series, they've combined for 5 goals, 8 points, and 18 shots. Kunin has the 2 goals and the 3 points. Yeah, I mean, they've dominated play 5-5. And there is a little... Yeah, you said it perfectly too, Matt, when you're talking about the ice time. When you look at the back of the hockey card for Kunin and you see 12 minutes, you probably don't want to play this guy in DFS. But I'm telling you, this line has looked really strong in the 2 games. Just rattled off the numbers there, the 8 points, the 5 goals, the 18 shots, and they're all very affordable. I mean, Yarncroc is 3.6, Kunin is 3.4, and Granlund is 4.2 on DK. I mean, you can have a stack with the top Boston guys if you want. You can have the top Ranger guys if you want, Philly guys, and put in Nashville. Heck, you can even just stack this game and get Kane and DeBrincat in there. It fits in pretty nice when you can get a line under 10K completely. Okay, we'll move on from it. I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's any shot props, but those guys certainly stand out. I think Kunin has a first goal tonight. Is an interesting play. All right, next game, Montreal and Calgary Flames at home. This is basically a pick 'em here, -112. Calgary 20 and 25 against the spread. Total here 5.5. We were getting 6 and 6.5s here with Montreal and Calgary, and that was a fun ride. I'm kind of leaning the under here a little bit as well, but we'll see what Cam thinks. Montreal -105, 20 and 24. Cam, what we said last Friday, I think, was absolutely true. I believe it was you and I chatting about the Flames and the Habs that we would see Calgary's absolute best effort.
For sure.
We did in those games. So Calgary's won 4 of the 6. All of them have been under the number. Last week was a 2-1 win for Montreal and a 4-1 win for Calgary. I didn't see a whole lot of offense in either of those games. I haven't seen a whole lot of offense anytime these 2 teams have played. The goaltending has been very strong, and just the way that the Flames have been playing with Sutter, and they just haven't given up a whole lot. On the Montreal side of things against the Oilers, I thought they played
a great game.
A perfect 110 minutes
exactly.
In those 2 games. They let that first one slip away. McDavid took over. And in the second game, with about 3 minutes left, the Oilers had a couple goals. One was a power play. They had the extra attacker on and scored another one. And the Habs almost blew that.
Can't believe lead.
Crazy. I know 5.5 is tough here. I kind of lean the under again. I think we're going to see the same type of game here between these 2 teams. It's a low-scoring grind, and I like the Flames.
I agree. Montreal's problem scoring goals. I know they got some against Edmonton. As for Calgary, the only question I have, Meaney, is these guys know they're done deep down inside. Do they want to open it up? That's the only question that I have. Like, are they going to try to do? Pardon?
I don't think they can. I don't think they have the personnel to open it up, man.
What? I says what? I says pardon? Yeah, no. I'm kind of with you. It's like they want to open up, and then Sutter's like, no. Even though the route, it's like, no, that's not going to fly with me. Like, you play the system, or I'm going to you're done. I'm not playing you again. I wanted to take Montreal earlier, but you're right. It's just one of those things. They played great against Edmonton. They can't complete a full game. I like the under 5.5 as well. I think this is and I'm going to tell you, I like Jake Allen a lot. I know other people, like I have that talk with Morency. He's like, oh, he's not really that, price and whatever. It's like, listen, man,
he's strong.
Jake Allen is one of the best goalies in the league, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I think the guy's fantastic. And yeah, 5.5 is fine. I don't think Calgary is going to score. I see like a 3-1 game here.
And I agree on Jake Allen, by the way. And last year with the Blues, he had a top 5 save percentage in the NHL.
Guy's wicked.
He's the guy who Matt brought this up to me in the last show, and I was, confused all day and sad. He said about Seattle, who would they take? Like, is it? I mean, I think they would be happy with a Jake Allen. Like, if they got Jake Allen,
are you kidding me?
He's under contract, under $3 million for the next 2 years.
For sure,
be a strong goalie, if not year 1, year 2. I look at Price and Allen as a 1A, 1B. I think Allen has been, if not better than Price, all year. He hasn't had the run support. That's why you look at the record, you see 8, 8, and 4, but a 2.54 goals against average and a 9-12 save percentage, even better at 5-5. He's been very, very good for them.
With the way Montreal plays D, Meaney, you know this team.
Yes.
Their defense stinks. Like, it's awful.
What would you say if I told you that maybe Caden Primo got the start tonight for Montreal?
Oh, I heard about that. I saw some stuff. What was the goalies, like Primo, and there was another. Who else?
They called up Charlie Lindgren.
Yeah.
Lindgren, who has been around for a couple of years for Montreal. Yep. He's played here and there in spurts. He hasn't really showed anything, but Caden Primo he's a top prospect goalie. He just hasn't had any time, obviously, with Price, and then they go and get Jake Allen. But I think Primo, he gets this start this evening, and Allen gets the start tomorrow. And I wouldn't be shocked if they go Markstrom in both games, considering how desperate they are. But for Primo, when just looking at some of his numbers, Laval, not great. I mean, a 9-11 save percentage, the goals against average is strong, 207. With Laval the year before that, very similar numbers, 2.4 goals against average, 908 save percentage. Northeastern University, his numbers were off the charts. I mean, sub-2 goals against average in back-to-back years and 930 save percentage in back-to-back years. He looks like a pretty strong goalie.
I like that, Meaney.
And he played Team USA as well.
Here's the thing, and hockey, like, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm not just buttering your and Matt best bread. You guys are the best hockey guys. Like, you should be all working at, like, for the league or doing other things. But let's talk about this. When a goaltender comes up with those type of numbers, it's a play on. It's not a playoff, right? Look at Swayman, Vlader, like all those guys for Boston, right? Like, their numbers in Providence, decent. The thing is, I love taking a guy who gets called up because what's he playing for, Meaney? His girlfriend, his wife, his family, whatever the hell he's got. He's like, I want to improve my life. I'm sick and tired of buses. I want planes. I'm sick and tired of, like noodles. I want porterhouse steaks, bowed in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to get NHL money. You want to get a contract. You want to find a way to better yourself. And I think guys who are actually playing for something, those are the guys I want to back.
Yeah. And you know what? There's also something we said about your teammates playing for somebody like that too, right? Yep. Yeah. I'm kind of like talking myself into the Habs here, but I think the under is 5.5. Just the way I've seen, again, I thought Montreal played perfect defensively against the Oilers. They did a great job. They've just had a lot of success against that team. And I'm just looking at the big picture that Montreal hasn't had a lot of success against Calgary. Now, the games have all been tight, but they haven't found a way to really generate any offense. And I don't know if that just all of a sudden changes. Like, Calgary plays their style, Montreal plays the way that they play, and it just doesn't seem like a good matchup. So I think the under is the play, but I'd imagine the Canadians give their best effort for this Primo kid tonight. I would assume it's not even official. I think he starts. I think Allen goes tomorrow. We'll see. But I think either way, the under. One more game. I like Toffoli, by the way, 2.5 shots. I like him every time. This is take him every time for the rest of the year. 2.5, minus 135, William Hill. Minnesota and LA in here next.
Oh, here we go.
Are we eating like Kings tonight? I'll be honest with you.
I'll tell you, Meaney, there's been no team like the Kings that has been great to me and horrible to me. I'm so streaky with that team. Like the other night against Anaheim, loaded up. A couple other times, loaded up. The loss versus SJ Sharkey, this Kings team. But I'm going to say this: take a look at the standings. Right? Take a look at the standings. The St. Louis Blues, they lost to Colorado. They got a lot of work to do, and they have a tough schedule. Arizona is decent, and SJ Sharkey is literally their minnows. They packed it in. They had 3 games against Anaheim, and they got smoked in all those games. I can't take that team seriously. They're back end stealing money. Carlson and Burns should be arrested for the money that they take watching those guys on a nightly basis. It's unbelievable. These guys are NHL players. They make horrible, horrible decisions and mistakes. Care of their business against Anaheim. Yeah. And now you're playing a very good Minnesota team that I've been riding. Minnesota's been great to me. But I think the Kings what are they getting? 45 cents?
Yeah.
You know what, Meaney? I got to take a shot. I think this team understands if we can actually string some wins together, we're going to be in the playoffs. Take a look at their games back, points. They're alive. I don't believe in San Jose. I think St. Louis has too tough of a schedule. For me, it's between Arizona and LA for that final spot. And I think LA is going to grind. It's tough against Minnesota. Cam Talbot's playing good. Yeah, everybody, it's just, they're a good hockey team. They take care of their business, but you know what? I think the Kings bring it tonight. I got to take a chance.
Yeah. The Kings, to your point, they're 5 back of Arizona, but they have 4 games in hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge. The Sharkies, SJ Sharkies,
they're done. I don't even want to, I'm so sick of that.
They've lost 7 straight.
That team is a joke. They had an opportunity, Meaney, when they were on fire. Remember when we were doing these shows? They had 3 games against Anaheim, and they lost every one horribly. Like, how do you do that as a team in contention? Yeah. Was it 5-1? 4? They got smoked too. These games weren't even close. No, I can't take the Sharks seriously. They're done to me.
Everyone inside this division's on some sort of streak. I mean, besides the Kings, they've won 1 in a row. But Vegas up top, 8 straight wins. Colorado 5, Minnesota 5, and then the Blues have lost 3 straight. The Ducks have lost 3 straight. The Sharks have lost 7 straight. Man, what a gap! Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota, all in the 60s. The Blues are sitting here with 44 freaking points, man. They have been so disappointing. A -13 goal differential, and LA is only at -10. What do you think about the under?
You see that giveaway in that game? They had a perfect game going on. And I love Sanford. He's one of my guys. I can't believe me and Blessing were talking about it. Lazy play, gets intercepted, bang. Colorado scores a goal right before the end of the period. After that, party's over. That's the thing. You can't do stuff like that. You're trying to make the playoffs, big mistakes. I'm on the Kings tonight, though, against Minnesota, buddy. I know that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. I'm not going to lie. I bet Minnesota last night at -140. What do you think about the total at 5.5? Could this go under? You mentioned Talbot, how strong he's been.
I agree.
If the Kings are going to win, they're probably not going to win a 5-4 game. It's probably a 2-1, 3-2 type style game. Yeah. What do you think about the under?
I like the under. I'll tell you one thing. Minnesota and overs have been good to me against Arizona. Yeah. I think LA is a different animal, right?
I think so too.
I think everyone, and the thing is, everyone just assumes to take overs. I think as the NHL season, we got a lot of teams with, 10 games left, 9 games left. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. I think the play's been a little bit better. We're not going to see some of the, you saw that Islanders Capitals game last night, 0-0 going into overtime. That's the thing. Teams aren't doing the stupid stuff that they did before. They understand we got to be sound defensively. I kind of like the under.
Yeah, totally. That game between the Islanders and the Capitals, they're going to play each other a couple more times. I think it's going to be very similar. It was just a chess match, man.
I agree.
Nobody wanted to make a mistake. It was very tight. You look at here at Cam Talbot, he's got a .925 save percentage among goalies with 1,000 minutes played. And Nedeljkovic is 1. And Nedeljkovic, my goodness, he is awesome. He should be the game 1 setter for Carolina in the playoffs. And Nedeljkovic, Vasilevsky, Drager, Fleury, Varlamov, Saros, Talbot, and then Peterson, 920. Yeah. Both of these guys. I think Peterson's going to get the start. Talbot going to get the start. I think we see a 3-2 game. I'm going to lean with the under. All right.
I just called Carolina's goalie, Meaney, Ned.
Ned. Guys in the FTN call him Needle Dick. Needle Dick from Waterboy.
Needle Dick. Yeah, it's like Ned Flanders. I those Russian names, I'm just hooked on phonics. Just give me Ned.
I am obsessed with Ned. I think he is unreal. His 9.33 Sabres finish and a 1.87 goals against average. The fact that Rod Brendamore started him against the Bolts and then the very next game started him against Florida, and he won both of those games, only allowing 2 goals. He may be the game 1 starter over Peter Mrazek. It's possible.
I agree.
It's not going to be Reimer.
I'm going to tell you one thing. I got futures on Carolina. I know a lot of people are kind of like, whatever. I think Carolina is one of the most dangerous teams going. The gap between them and Tampa Bay has been lessened. Florida's okay, but Carolina's better than Florida, in my opinion. They're deeper. Yes. I think the Canes are lethal.
Yes, very. Absolutely. And the only question that I had with them, and I know you did as well, we've had so many conversations in the office over the past few years, is their goaltending.
Yeah.
They've been on the rise now for 3 or 4 years. They've been one of the better 5-5 teams. If you're an analytic hockey guy, you know that they're very strong. They control a puck. They're strong deep down the middle with faceoffs. They're good penalty killing. They're
awesome.
D. Yeah. It's just, I've never been a big believer in Peter Mrazek. Never. He's been in and out of spurts, and last year he was good, and then except for the injury, then it was game over for them. But Nedeljkovic Ned he's adds another different element. It's something that they needed. He's the goalie of the future there. I think Mrazek's on the end of his contract as well, so get used to it, Carolina fans. All right, Matt, what do you got for us from Wednesday?
All right, I got a pair of winning records for you. For your straight up picks, 3-2. The under in Nashville, Chicago did not hit, so color me fucking angry at that. Minnesota, Montreal, and Vegas money lines all hit. The under Montreal did not hit. 3-2, 129 and 84 on the year. Maybe we can get up to 150 before the season's over. No pressure. I mean,
I'll just give every pick from here on out.
It's possible. We've got a few weeks left. Shot props 62 and 36 on the season after you went 3-1. Tuck hit. Capri hit, Toffoli hit, and DeBrincat missed. I saw that a fan of the show tweeted out that he hit on Tuck and Kaprizov. So,
and that's what we talked about a lot on that. Yeah, they were both plus money.
We hammered those guys. What a parlay that turned out to be.
Yeah, and good on the listener. He also took them anytime goal. So, I mean, he got them on the shot prop parlay.
That was a good call.
Anytime goal. Yeah,
I like that.
Super smart. And a lot of these guys, too, that we've been taking for shot props, I mean, they're volume shooters. They're fine to take as anytime goals as well. Very, very smart. Cam, what do you got for us today? What's on your card?
What's on my card? Boston, Buffalo. Hey, Buffalo. There's a fire in Cheektowaga and another arson in Tonawanda. What am I going to do? I'm laying off the Sabres, and if they win this game or lose by 1, I'm going to be pissed. Give me the Flyers as a dog against the Rangers in the over 6. I like the Chicago Blackhawks against Matt Best. Hi, I'm Matt Best. I am the voice of the Nashville Predators. Give me the Blackhawks plus 110. Calgary and Montreal under the number. What is it, 5.5? And it's risky, but give me the LA Kings plus 145 against a very good Wild team and the under.
I like it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go with Philly and the over as well. Philly and over 6. I'm going to take the Blackhawks tonight. I'm going to take the Blackhawks and over 5.5. Take the under in Montreal and Calgary. I'm on the under in Minnesota and LA, but I will just be a little different than you, Cam. I will take Minnesota there. So Minnesota in the under, Chicago in the over, Philly in the over. I'll just stay away from the Boston game. To be honest with you, I probably will have a couple parlays where I'll get nuts and I'll put the Bruins on by 2 or something like that. Maybe I'll pick Boston by 2 in there. For the shot props, Hall 2.5, Mika Zibanejad 2.5, Tyler Toffoli 2.5. If you're looking for a 4th, I think it's Kaprizov 2.5. I'll go with him. He's feeling Robertson. From a DFS standpoint, again, have some fun with that Granlund, Kunin line, and maybe Chicago. I think that's an underrated game stack. I would stay away from Montreal and Calgary. I'd stay away from Minnesota, LA. And I think we could see some goals in Philly and New York with the Rangers. I think you can take that number 1 power play for the Rangers and then get in. If it's any Philadelphia players that you want to get involved with, it's always Couturier.
I agree.
Find out who Couturier is playing with and stack him in that line. I believe he's with Voracek and Claude Giroux. They've really stacked it up there recently. I'd also like Bergeron for 2.5 shots, but I'd like Hall a little bit more in there as well. All right, Matt, what's your favorite pick on the board? Nashville guy?
Definitely not betting Nashville, I'll tell you that much. I think out of all of them, I love Kaprizov at his price for a shot prop. That's my favorite play out of everything. For my card, Bruins money line, but I'm not going to have that unless it's in a parlay. Staying away from Flyers, Rangers, Blackhawks money line. Give me the under in Canadians and Flames. Give me the Minnesota Wild. I think minus 160 is just a little too low for the Wild there, but plus 140 the Kings is a nice price. But yeah, give me the Wild minus 160.
All right, good luck out there to everyone. Cam, I know you're busy as hell, man. Try to enjoy your weekend, giving out picks, curling picks. Like, how does curling, the curling teasing picks have been strong for you guys?
What, 3.5 rocks? Yeah, I wish we could buy some rocks. Every time I'm watching TV, it's Canada versus Scotland. But in the golf, I'm going to give you one. Let's take a look for the weekend. Horschel and Burns seem very, very dangerous to me. Leishman and Smith are chalk. And if you're looking for a little bit of an underdog, I'm thinking Jason Kokrak and Pat Perez. Let's go.
Let's go. Always a pleasure to talk to Cam. Good luck out there, everybody. Have a great weekend. Maddie will be with you this weekend, giving out some more picks right here on the Mayo Media Network. We'll be back on Monday. Good luck tonight. Talk to you soon. Cheers.